Sing this with me. Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me. I once was lost, but now I'm found. Was blind, but now I see. 'Twas grace that taught my heart to fear, and grace my fears relieved. How precious did that grace appear the hour I first believed. Say, my chains are gone, I've been set free. My God, my Savior has ransomed me, and like a flood His mercy reigns, unending love, amazing grace. Aren't you thankful for His grace today? Amen. The Lord has promised to me His word, my hope secures. He will my shield and portion be, as long as life endures. Sing it. My chains are gone, I've been set free. My God, my Savior has ransomed me, and like a flood His mercy reigns, unending amazing grace. My chains are gone, I've been set free. My God, my Savior has ransomed me, and like a flood His mercy unending love, amazing grace. The earth shall soon dissolve like snow. The sun forbear to shine, but God who called me here below will be forever mine. Will be forever mine. You are forever mine. Amen. Grace is amazing. And I don't know if I ever really told a whole lot about my testimony here before. How many this is your first time to hear me anyways? Oh, hey, how y'all doing? I've been here before. Y'all didn't come for breakfast. The last two times that I think I've been here twice before, maybe more. No, more, because we used to meet over at the fire station, right? Yeah. Way back. Oh, way back. Yeah, I was Ray had hair back then. Oh, I'm sorry. Yes. No, but I grew up in a preacher's home. My dad was a pastor, later became an evangelist, And my dream as a kid was always to be a gospel singer. That's what I wanted to do when I was a kid and growing up in church. My dad was always looking for volunteers. You know, the preachers are always looking for volunteers. That just means you work for free. And so I'd volunteer to sing all the time. And so really at a young age, I was able to realize my dream. My dad later became an evangelist, and we would travel all over the country, and we'd hold revivals and camp meetings and conventions and concerts. So I was able to realize my dream at a young age. That was pretty awesome. I got married September 28th, 1991, and all my dreams went out the window. No, I'm joking. Where's that doghouse out? Let me get in that doghouse real quick. No, I wasn't able to travel quite as much with my family, but I was still able to go a little bit, and still able to realize a little bit of my dream. I had to get a real job, though, you know. I tell my wife it was to support her eating habit. She didn't laugh at that. There's another doghouse. Man, I could build like a 4-story doghouse out of with stuff I've done. But I would still travel a little bit. My wife and I had been married for 8 months. And my brother, it was May 16th, 1992. My brother turned 18 that day. And so we went over to my mom and dad's house to have a little cookout and a food fight and all that stuff, you know, for birthdays. We had to leave to go babysit for some friends. My parents took my little sister, who was 10 at the time, to an animal show, and we all just kind of dispersed and went our own way. We were babysitting. Someone showed up at the house and said, we didn't have cell phones back then in 92. Someone showed up at the house and said, there's been an accident. You need to get to the hospital right away. So we headed over to the hospital and get in there and find out a drunk driver had run a red light, doing a little over 90 miles an hour in downtown Canton, hit my parents' car broadside, rolled it about 5 times, brought it up against a cement wall. They take us into a family room, and they say, your father's passed away. Your mother probably won't live through the night. Your little sister's going to survive, but she's getting part of her ear put back on and surgery on all of her face, and all her extremities have casts, and she's conscious. She needs somebody to come in and explain to her what happened. I'm 19 years old. I'm still trying to grasp the fact that my dad's gone, my mom's probably dying, and now I have to go in and talk to my sister. I went in and talked to her, and she was being a trooper. You know, I tried to joke with her a little bit, and so we were in there for a few minutes. Finally, she said, well, how's mommy and daddy? So, well, daddy's in heaven, and mommy's probably going there tonight. Of course, she cried and wanted daddy. It was the hardest thing I've ever done. We were in there for a little bit, and a nurse comes in and said, listen, we have to take your mom for surgery, an operation. She probably won't survive the operation, but she's conscious right now, so we want to give you an opportunity to say goodbye, which I appreciated. So I went in to see my mom. She wasn't real recognizable. She was pretty messed up. She was on a respirator, and she had already started swelling up pretty bad. And so I held her hand for a minute, and she looked at me. She recognized me, and she tried to let me know that everything was okay. I knew she didn't mean physically, but she was letting me know that she was okay. She knew where she was getting ready to go. And let me tell you something. If you can leave your family nothing else, the greatest gift you can leave your family is to let them know that you know you're going to heaven. When you're right there and you can look them in the eye with that assurance and tell them you're going to heaven, there's no greater gift. They took my mother away and did the operation. She actually turned out to be a lot stronger than they anticipated. She lived for 16 days before she went home to heaven. And after I lost my parents that way, that dream that I had had of singing, I'd always sung with my parents, it was broken. It was shattered. I lost the song in my heart. I lost the joy that comes from knowing Jesus. You know, as a Christian, you're supposed to have joy, because when you have Jesus in your heart, you have joy. It doesn't mean you're going to walk around with a smile pasted on your face all the time, one of those fake smiles, but whenever you have Jesus in your heart, it's going to overflow once in a while. You know, you can't help but let it overflow. And I lost that joy. I was a Christian, but I was broken. So I made up my mind I was done singing. I'm not singing anymore. I'm just going to go to church like everyone else, and that's it. And I did that for a year, miserable. I was a miserable Christian, broken. I wasn't bitter, but I was broken. And there are a lot of broken people out there. And so I went to church for a year and didn't get involved in anything. And a year went by, and I got a phone call from a little church in Toronto, Ohio, down on the river. They'd known me all my life. And they were getting ready to have a revival, and they said, we want you to come and do the music for us. And I said, well, I don't do that. Well, we know, but we still want you to come. I said, well, I don't want to. She said, well, we figured you'd say that, and we still want you. It was a woman I was talking to, okay? That can explain a lot. Doghouse, here we go. I said, well, I don't have any music. I used to play guitar, but I hadn't played for over a year. My mom played the piano when we sang, and I didn't have any music or any of this stuff. And she goes, we've already thought of that. Your aunt lives 30 minutes from here. We've already set it up for her to play for you. They'd gone behind my back before they'd even asked me. So I got tired of arguing with this woman. I said, okay, I'll come and do it, thinking I'd get it out of her system. So I went and sang for this revival. Great attitude to go sing at a revival. Okay, I'll get it over with, you know. But I got there and sang, and here the evangelist was also their district superintendent in charge of all those Wesleyan churches in that area. It was a Wesleyan church. And hey, she's calling you. And yeah. So after the revival was over, I started getting phone calls from all this guy's churches that he was in charge of saying, we want you to come and sing for us. Well, I don't do that. Well, they told us you'd say that. We want you to come anyways. Jeremiah 29:11 says this. For I know the plans that I have for you, saith the Lord. Plans not to harm you, plans to give you hope and a future. Plans to bless you. God has a plan for each and every one of us. And even though sometimes we kind of push back, that door that opened for me, I just kind of pushed back. And let me just tell you something. He can push a whole lot harder than you can. And think about it. It's easier to walk through an open door than to be pushed through a door. You get a few bumps and bruises when you get pushed. Now, I'm probably the only one here that's ever argued with God. I don't know. But he's going to win. And when he opens up that door, there's always something better on the other side. He's not there to hurt you or harm you. He's there to bless you. And so whenever he opens up that door, so many times when we push back, we don't understand the blessing that's in store for us. And so as the doors started to open, I started to get a little smarter, not a whole lot smarter, but a little bit smarter. And I started to go and sing at different churches. And that continued until finally I got so busy singing that I had to figure out whether I wanted to do a full-time job or I wanted to go into full-time ministry. And I'm thankful that God had a plan for me. Because today I want you to know, the doors have opened to bring me here today, and I want you to know that I have a song in my heart. And I have joy in serving Jesus. And I have my dream back. This is what I dreamed about when I was a kid, singing for people and telling people about Jesus. Because that's the kind of God that I serve. So whenever you're broken and he picks up those broken pieces and he starts to mold you again, he makes you more in his likeness, more in his image, so you can better portray the love of Jesus. I'll tell you this, I love this thought. The more broken you are, the more light is expelled. You think about it. Jesus one day was broken. He hung on a cross for you, for me. And whenever he picks up those pieces and he molds us, he makes us in his image so we can tell people about Jesus. God has a plan for us. I hadn't even planned on singing this song, so I got to see if I can find it here real quick. But this is a song that a friend of mine wrote several years ago, and it kind of became my theme song. So I don't know most of you here. I don't know what's going on in your life, who you've lost, what's going on, what somebody's done to you, but I want you to know that God has a plan for each one of you individually to bring you out of whatever you're in and give you glory, give you victory. God's got a plan. Jeremiah 29:11 simply says that. So I want to do this song for you, a song called God Has Got a Plan for Me. You listen.
Times I may not understand, still my life is in his hands. God has got a plan for me. God has got a plan for me. No matter what the circumstance may be, times I may not understand, still my life is in his hands. He's got a plan for me. He knows the past. has got a plan for me. No matter what the circumstance may be, times I may not understand, still my life is in his hands. He's got a plan for me. He knows the past. He sees the future. The start to the finish, the beginning and the end. He doesn't wanna harm me. He only wants to give me hope. He wants to bless me over and over again. You believe that today? Amen. God has got a plan for you. No matter what your circumstance may be, times you may not understand, still your life is in his hands. He's got a plan for you. Times I may not understand, still my life is in his hands. God has got a plan for me. Amen.